Welcome to the Deep Dive podcast channel.
Great to be here.
Have you ever stopped to think about why trusting others, something so essential for, well, a fulfilling life, can feel like navigating a minefield?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even more fundamentally, why trusting our own instincts or feelings can sometimes feel just as precarious.
It's a huge topic.
That's the terrain we're exploring today, really digging into the roots of our struggles with trust and maybe some initial steps toward building more emotional safety.
Yeah, it's this paradox, isn't it? So many people grapple with it. You have this deep, innate human desire for connection.
Right, we all want it.
Exactly. But then it's paired with this deep-seated fear of vulnerability. So individuals might find themselves really yearning for intimacy, but at the same time, their body is kind of bracing for potential hurt.
That tension.
And look, this internal conflict, it isn't a sign that someone's broken or, defective. It's actually a really common human experience. It's shaped by how our brains and bodies learn to navigate the world, especially relationships.
That's reassuring to hear, actually.
It should be. And, if you listening are finding these kinds of deep dives into understanding ourselves helpful, maybe consider subscribing. That way you won't miss future explorations.
Yeah, absolutely. And we always welcome your thoughts, your questions in the comments, too. It helps shape these conversations.
Definitely.
So it really speaks to something fundamental about how we're wired, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost like we arrive expecting connection.
Mm-hmm.
But then life happens, experiences happen, and they can create these deep grooves of hesitancy.
That's a great way to put it. Grooves of hesitancy.
And when we look at it biologically, it makes even more sense.
No, absolutely. Trust isn't just some abstract feeling or idea. It's deeply, deeply interwoven with our survival mechanisms.
How so?
Well, think about it from an evolutionary standpoint. As infants, we are completely dependent. That necessitates a basic fundamental level of trust in our caregivers for survival. Pure and simple.
Right, you have to rely on them.
You have to. And when those primary needs, food, warmth, comfort, safety, are met consistently and importantly with attunement.
Attunement, what do you mean by that exactly?
Attunement is when a caregiver accurately perceives and then responds to the infant's needs. They get the baby's cues. When that happens reliably, our nervous system learns this crucial lesson. Okay, the world is generally safe. I can rely on others.
Oh, okay. So it sets a foundation.
It acts as a springboard. This foundational trust allows us to venture out, to form future relationships with a sense of relative security.
Okay, that makes sense. So what happens when that early foundation is, well, shaky or broken?
Yeah, that's where things get complicated. When those early experiences are marked by, say, betrayal, abandonment, significant emotional neglect, abuse, or even just chronic inconsistency in caregiving.
So not always big T's trauma, but maybe just things not being reliable.
Exactly. Chronic unpredictability. That can have a profound, lasting impact. The nervous system, which is essentially our internal threat detection system, it adapts. It adapts to what it perceives as an unsafe, unreliable world.
It learns a different lesson.
It learns a different lesson. And this adaptation often shows up as various protective strategies. Strategies designed, really, to minimize future harm.
And I imagine these protective strategies can look quite different from person to person. They're not all the same.
Oh, precisely. Very different. For some individuals, it might develop into this heightened state of vigilance, constantly scanning their surroundings, scrutinizing people's behavior for potential red flags.
It's like their internal alarm system is just stuck on high alert.
That's a perfect description. Always on high alert. Then others might form what psychologists call anxious attachments. This is often characterized by a really deep-seated fear of rejection and a tendency to seek constant reassurance in relationships. Sometimes, maybe to the point of appearing clingy.
Okay.
Conversely, you might see avoidant attachment styles develop. Here, people learn to suppress their need for closeness. They maintain distance as a way to preemptively protect themselves from being hurt.
So keep people at arm's length.
Keep them at arm's length. Don't let them get too close. And then, in more severe cases, individuals might experience a kind of emotional shutdown. Numbness, withdrawal. It's a way to cope when feelings feel too overwhelming, too unsafe.
Wow.
And it's so crucial to understand these aren't signs of weakness. They're not pathologies. They are intelligent survival mechanisms developed in response to perceived danger. The brain doing its job to keep you safe in an environment that felt unsafe.
That reframing is so important. Survival mechanisms, not flaws.
Absolutely.
It's sobering to think how these early experiences can just keep shaping our relational patterns often without us even realizing it.
Unconsciously.
And like we touched on, these trust issues,
Mm.
they don't always scream, I don't trust you. Sometimes they're way more subtle, almost camouflaged in just everyday behaviors.
That's such an important point because the ways broken trust shows up can be surprisingly nuanced, really hidden sometimes.
Like, what are some examples?
Okay, so for instance, you might see someone who operates with this chronic self-sufficiency. Always insists, I'm fine, I've got it, handles everything independently, even when they could genuinely use some support.
Right. The I don't need anyone stance.
Exactly. It's as if needing help equals vulnerability, and vulnerability feels way too risky. Or think about the person who maintains extreme independence in all their relationships. It's almost like a preemptive strike. If I never rely on anyone, I can't be let down.
That makes sense.
Difficulty even asking for basic needs to be met can also be a huge indicator.
Just asking feels dangerous.
Exactly. Because beneath that reluctance to ask, there's often this deep fear. My needs won't be met? Or worse, expressing my needs will lead to ridicule or rejection or punishment.
Wow.
We might also see patterns where people unconsciously sabotage relationships just as things start getting close. Intimacy itself triggers a kind of fear response.
Pushing people away without meaning to.
Or, paradoxically, you might find individuals staying in unhealthy dynamics, relationships that are painful but familiar. Why? Because the predictability of that known pain can actually feel safer than the unknown of potentially healthy but unfamiliar connections.
That's a tough one. The familiar discomfort versus the scary unknown.
It really is. And then there's the tendency some people have to just overanalyze everything, every word, every action of others, constantly searching for hidden motives, subtle signs of betrayal.
Exhausting.
Totally exhausting. But all these seemingly different behaviors, they can often be traced back to that core fear. If I truly let my guard down, if I really trust, I will end up abandoned, betrayed, or just deeply hurt.
Okay, so understanding the roots is one thing. But if these patterns are often set down early on, how do we even begin to shift them, it feels like?
Yeah.
Maybe the first step has to be internal, cultivating trust within ourselves.
That's a profoundly insightful question. And yes, absolutely. Before we can really, truly extend trust outward in a healthy way, we often need to build or rebuild a solid foundation of self-trust.
Why is that link so strong?
Because difficult or traumatic experiences, they often lead to this disconnect from our own inner world. We might start doubting our feelings, dismissing our gut instincts, questioning if our needs are even valid.
Losing touch with ourselves.
Exactly. So rebuilding self-trust involves consciously turning inward, learning to become a reliable, safe haven for ourselves first, becoming your own safe home.
Okay, I like that idea. Becoming your own safe home. What does that look like practically, day to day?
Well, it involves several key things. First, learning to honor your emotions. Really recognizing that every feeling, even the uncomfortable ones, anger, sadness, fear, carries valuable information. There's signals about our internal state, about our needs.
So not judging the feelings, just listening.
Just listening, acknowledging them. Second, cultivating the practice of listening to your intuition, that gut feeling, that inner knowing. Learning to respect it, even if you can't always logically explain why you feel a certain way.
Trusting your gut.
Trusting your gut. Then there's this really powerful practice. Setting small, achievable intentions or promises for yourself each day. Tiny things.
Like what?
Like, I will take a 10-minute walk during lunch. Or, I will drink a glass of water right now. Or, I will go to bed by 11 tonight. Small things you can control. And then this is key, consistently following through.
Proving to yourself you're reliable.
Precisely. These small acts of self-loyalty send this powerful message deep down to your nervous system. Hey, I am reliable. I will show up for you. You are safe with me.
That's powerful.
And perhaps most fundamentally, it involves cultivating self-compassion, treating yourself with the same kindness, the same understanding, the same patience that you would offer a dear friend who's struggling.
Being on your own side.
Being on your own side. Unconditionally.
Okay, so it's about creating this internal environment of safety, reliability, predictability first. And then from that more secure inner place, it seems logical that we can maybe start to navigate building emotional safety with others.
Exactly. That self-trust provides the anchor.
So what exactly is emotional safety in a relationship? What does that feel like?
At its absolute core, emotional safety is the feeling that you can show up authentically, just as you are, warts and all, without the fear of being humiliated, rejected, or punished for it.
Okay.
It's the sense that your feelings, your experiences will be acknowledged and respected, not dismissed, not invalidated, not weaponized against you later.
Right.
It's knowing deep down that your vulnerability, when you choose to share it, will be met with empathy and care, not with judgment or exploitation.
It sounds ideal.
It's foundational.
Yeah.
Without that baseline sense of emotional safety in our interactions, trust simply cannot take root. It just withers. It needs that environment of predictability, respect, and care to bloom.
Okay, so how do we actively nurture that in our relationships? What are some tangible steps?
Well, it definitely requires conscious effort and open communication from everyone involved. It's not a one-way street.
Right.
Being transparent about your needs and boundaries is paramount. Saying what you need, saying what's okay and not okay.
And respecting others' boundaries, too.
Absolutely. And prioritizing consistency. Do your words match your actions? That builds predictability, which fosters safety.
Walk the talk.
Walk the talk. Choosing to surround yourself with people who genuinely respect your no as much as they celebrate your yes, that's huge.
That's a big one. Respecting the no.
It really is. And also, it's vital to pay attention not just to what people say, but to how your body feels in their presence. Our nervous systems are incredibly wise. They often pick up on subtle cues of safety or danger that our conscious minds might just dismiss or rationalize away.
So tuning into that physical sense of ease or tension around someone.
Yes. Truly safe relationships often resonate within us on a visceral level. There's often a sense of calm, of ease, maybe even expansion in the body rather than constriction or anxiety.
Interesting. Body wisdom.
Body wisdom. Don't ignore it.
Okay. This brings us then to the often challenging journey of actually healing trust within relationships, especially maybe where trust has been damaged. It sounds like it's definitely a marathon, not a sprint.
Oh, absolutely a marathon. Rebuilding trust after it's been broken, or even just cultivating it in relationships when your past experiences make it feel really hard. It's a gradual, courageous process.
So what are some key aspects of that marathon?
Okay, one key aspect is going slow, taking things slowly. Trust isn't rebuilt through grand, dramatic gestures or rushed declarations of, I trust you now.
Right, not overnight.
Not overnight. It's nurtured through small, consistent actions over time, showing up reliably day after day in small ways. And it's perfectly acceptable, actually wise, to test the waters gently. Observe patterns of behavior. Assess safety incrementally before you dive into full vulnerability.
Testing the waters. That makes sense.
Another really important element is managing expectations. Even in the safest, healthiest relationships, people are human. Misunderstandings will happen. Disappointments will inevitably occur sometimes.
Perfection isn't realistic.
Not at all. So healing trust involves learning to navigate these imperfections with open communication, with a willingness to repair the connection when ruptures happen, but while still maintaining your healthy boundaries. It's not about tolerating disrespect, but tolerating imperfection.
That's a crucial distinction. Tolerating imperfection, not disrespect.
Exactly. And a really significant part of the healing process, often overlooked, is learning to verbalize our fears around trust.
Actually saying them out loud.
Yes. Saying things like, I feel hesitant to rely on you right now because I've been let down a lot in the past. Or I feel scared when things get close because I worry I'll be abandoned.
That sounds vulnerable.
It is, but it can be incredibly powerful. Naming the fear often makes it feel more manageable, and it also invites a deeper level of authentic connection with someone who is trustworthy and can hold that space for you.
Okay.
Then there's the practice of allowing ourselves to receive. This is hard for many people with trust issues.
Receiving what?
Kindness, support, care, learning to accept it without immediately deflecting, oh, it was nothing, or feeling an intense pressure to reciprocate instantly, or feeling like you don't deserve it. That can be deeply vulnerable.
Yeah, I can see that.
But also profoundly healing, just letting goodness in. And finally, it really is about consciously choosing environments and relationships where respect, attunement, and mutual care are the norm, not the exception.
Being discerning.
Being discerning. Not everyone is equipped or willing to offer the emotional safety we need and deserve, and recognizing who is truly safe and investing there is a vital part of the journey.
Wow. This has been such an insightful exploration. Thank you. It feels so important to circle back and really emphasize that if building trust feels like this huge uphill battle for someone, it's often rooted in very real experiences. It's not a reflection of some inherent failing.
That is probably the most crucial takeaway. If you, listening right now, find trusting others, or maybe even trusting yourself, to be a significant challenge, please Please know that you are not broken. You are not doomed to isolation. You are absolutely worthy of safe, loving, nourishing connections.
Hmm.
Often, these difficulties are actually a testament to your nervous system's remarkable ability to adapt and protect you when things felt unsafe. It did its job.
And the really encouraging news is that survival mode doesn't have to be the final chapter.
Exactly. That's not the end of the story. Trust can be rebuilt. It's a gradual journey, yes.
Yeah.
It unfolds through consistent acts of self-compassion, through those courageous moments of appropriate vulnerability, and through cultivating relationships where you feel genuinely safe and truly seen.
So maybe for you, the listener, just take a moment to let this sink in.
Mm.
You absolutely deserve relationships where your heart can actually relax. Connections that feel like a secure home base, not like a potential hazard zone.
Home, not hazard. I like that.
Healing takes the time it takes. It unfolds at your own unique pace, and it is a profoundly worthy journey.
Absolutely. So maybe we can tackle a few common questions people have around this.
Yeah, great idea. FAQs.
Okay, Q1. Why do I find it so hard to trust anyone? Well, as we've discussed, often this really stems from those early experiences where trust was compromised in some way. Your nervous system learned to prioritize safety above all else, making trust feel inherently risky. It's a protective adaptation that might not be serving you as well now.
Right. Makes sense. Q2. Can emotional trust actually be healed after a significant betrayal?
Yes. The short answer is yes, it is possible, but, and this is a big but it requires significant time, consistent, trustworthy effort from the person who betrayed the trust, and a real focus on rebuilding emotional safety. Crucially, it often starts with rebuilding trust in yourself first, learning to trust your judgment again, and then gradually, carefully extending trust to others who consistently demonstrate trustworthiness over time.
It's not a quick fix.
Definitely not. Q3. How do I even begin to rebuild trust with myself before trying to trust others? Start small. Really small acts of self-care and self-loyalty. Pay attention to your feelings without judgment. Honor your boundaries, even the small ones. Follow through on those tiny promises you make to yourself. Drinking the water, taking the break. This consistent self-validation, showing up for yourself, is absolutely foundational.
Build that inner reliability first.
Exactly.
Okay. And for our PS note today, our little takeaway thought, maybe consider this. What's one small, gentle act of self-trust you can offer yourself today? Just one thing.
I like that. Gentle, small.
Just something to practice.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the complexities of trust. We really hope this conversation has provided you with some valuable insights, maybe some validation, and definitely a sense of hope on your own journey.
Yeah, thank you for listening. And if you found this exploration helpful, if you're interested in delving deeper into other aspects of psychological well-being and understanding ourselves better, we'd warmly invite you to subscribe so you don't miss our future deep dives.
We'd love to have you join us again.